There's a fundamental shift happening in how businesses operate, and most people are missing it entirely. Traditional business advice tells you to build a product, test it, and market it to a specific audience. This approach works, but it's also why so many ventures fail in their first year. What if there was a way to skip the sink or swim phase? What if you could leverage modern tools and strategies to build something more resilient from day one? That's exactly what we are going to be breaking down today. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will understand why education-based businesses are dominating in the digital economy and how you can build one yourself. Let me start with something that might surprise you. When you look at successful entrepreneurs across different industries, whether they are in private equity, agency work, or software development, there's one pattern that keeps coming up in conversations. They all wish they had started building their audience sooner. The marketing landscape has transformed dramatically in just a few years. Having a personal brand used to be optional. Now, it's becoming essential for anyone who wants to build something meaningful. Think about it this way, there are essentially 4 types of distribution. Manual distribution, cold emails, cold calls, direct message campaigns. It works, but it's exhausting and doesn't scale. Paid distribution, Facebook ads, Google ads, sponsored content. Effective for testing, but expensive and stops the moment you stop paying. Borrowed distribution, podcast sponsorships, YouTube collaborations, newsletter, features. Great for exposure, but you're at someone else's mercy. Owned distribution, your own audience, newsletter, community, or customer list. This is the long game that most people avoid because it takes time. Here's the reality. Owned distribution compounds. You can reach 10,000 to 20,000 followers in your first year, 50,000 to 100,000 in 2 years, and potentially millions after 4 to 5 years. Compare that to manually reaching people or constantly paying for ads. Imagine spending 2 years building an audience of 100,000 followers. If you promoted something valuable for a month in a strategic way, you could easily generate 1 million impressions. How long would it take to manually message 1 million people? How much would it cost to reach them through paid ads? Probably around $7,000 per month. And that's assuming a standard CPM. But here's what makes own distribution truly powerful. It's not just about numbers, it's about building trust and authority in a specific domain. To become genuinely good at audience building, you can't just study it in isolation. This applies to most skills that generate exceptional results. It's not as simple as watching a best skills to learn in 2025 video, because that's what everyone else is doing. That's how you commoditize yourself. Audience building is actually a stack of today's most valuable skills bundled together. Content writing and copywriting, marketing and sales psychology, visual communication and design thinking, understanding human nature and behavior, self-awareness and authentic expression, strategic networking. It requires multidisciplinary knowledge and expertise. More than that, it's a lifestyle. It's a practice of capturing, curating, connecting, creating, and distributing valuable information in ways that genuinely help people make better decisions. If you're not actively pursuing growth in your own life, you will struggle to help others do the same. Personal development isn't separate from professional success. They are intertwined. A better life requires the habits of learning, building, and distributing. Let me break this down into actionable steps. If someone can spend 8 hours building someone else's dreams, they can invest 1 hour building their own. Here's exactly what needs to become habit. Learning with intention. Start by studying the fundamentals of marketing, sales, writing, and social media. Consume 30 to 50 hours of quality content, both free resources and structured courses. But here's the key. Build your personal presence alongside your learning so you can immediately apply what you are studying. Study what genuinely interests you. Don't artificially limit yourself. When you have the overarching goal of building something meaningful, everything you learn connects to that lens. You're still focused on one term direction, even while exploring many short-term topics. This isn't scattered attention, it's strategic diversification. When you encounter an idea that genuinely excites you, capture it, write it down, refine it, and share it with your audience. This is a powerful content strategy. Sharing what energizes you naturally attracts people interested in the same things. Modern hunting is finding novel ideas and distributing them to build your tribe. Building for yourself. Pursue your own goals and document the process. Keep running notes, logs, successes, and failures somewhere safe. From your journey, you gain detailed knowledge. From the knowledge, you can create a clear path for others. This is how you develop a unique system that markets itself and generates better results than those just trying to make quick money. Share the advice, lessons, and authentic experiences, both wins and losses. This approach is called building in public. Don't do it primarily for others. Treat it as a digital journal. The long-term payoff is substantial. Distributing a purposeful product. Most people don't realize that products function as authority catalysts. They think selling something means selling out, not understanding that it actually adds credibility to their brand and builds more loyal followers. Create something that addresses a real need, either one you currently have or one you have overcome. This could be educational content, practical tools, frameworks, or systems. When you build for yourself first and validate that it works, you won't worry about competition. You're solving a problem you intimately understand. Another common mistake is over-relying on algorithms or aesthetics. People get caught playing that game instead of building something genuinely valuable. If you have created something that helps your own life and you genuinely appreciate it, there's no reason to feel uncomfortable offering it to others who face similar challenges. Now, we need to discuss something crucial: customer retention through education. Almost every business can benefit from adding an educational layer to their model. Many business experts push outdated advice. They tell you to identify a starving market, then build a product for the market, and attract them as your audience. Yes, this approach can work, but it comes with significant downsides. You might end up resenting your customer base. You lose motivation because you're not personally invested. You sacrifice autonomy over what you create and share. You can't pivot where your interests evolve. You get locked into a specific identity that may not fit who you truly are. When you prioritize education through content, courses, communities, and coaching, you unlock the ability to create your own customers. But how does this actually work? Humans are learning machines. Why does any market desire what it desires? Why do people willingly pay for things they perceive as valuable? Because of social conditioning, learning, and education. People don't randomly develop problems and desires. They are educated into specific identities before they ever encounter your brand. Traditional marketing tries to intercept people at a specific education level, targeting them when they already have the problem awareness and identity. But what if you could guide people through the entire journey? What if you could attract a broader audience at the foundation level and educate them into a holistic worldview that naturally leads to wanting what you offer? This extends the customer journey. You're not just selling, you are genuinely transforming lives by guiding people through an entire growth process. There's a framework from Breakthrough Advertising that applies to everything in business and life. It's called the levels of awareness. Unaware, they don't know the problem exists. Problem aware, they recognize the problem. Solution aware, they know solutions exist. Product aware, they know about your specific solution. Most aware, they fully understand how the problem impacts their life and are ready to take action. Your role as an education-focused brand is to address all 5 levels. Make your audience aware of problems you have observed and solved. Provide advice and tips showing that solutions exist. Then present a product that accelerates the solution. Here's the thing, people don't log onto social media to solve problems. It's not primarily a learning platform, and most people can't focus enough to research and figure out their own path. That's why aggregated structured information has value. People are investing in a clear solution which makes their attention and behavior follow through. Free education only works for the small percentage who have been conditioned to be highly motivated and self-directed. Even they often see value in organized information and buy for convenience. There are 2 main types of content, and long-form success requires both. Short form, tweets, short videos, reels, quick posts, big ideas, memorable quotes. Long form, podcasts, videos, articles, newsletters, detailed conversations, comprehensive guides. Each serve a distinct purpose. Short form captures attention, builds a large audience quickly, and funnels people toward deeper value. Long form holds investor attention, builds trust through demonstrated expertise, and segments your audience. Research shows that the balance of both forces you to actually have value to deliver. If you don't have habits of self-education, product building, and using writing to clarify your thinking, you're delaying the inevitable. You need to build something real. The best content comes from actively building something, whether that's a product, a system, or working toward a clear goal. When you have a lens to view everyday experiences through, you can extract lessons that relate to what you are creating. Without a project or goal to apply your learning to, all the information entering your mind becomes noise. You can't filter for signal without a frame of reference. For those just beginning, start with 1 long-form channel and 1 short-form platform. For long-form, a newsletter is ideal because you can practice before you have a large audience. You build a database of content to repurpose. Long-form builds depth and connection, reducing the need for aggressive sales tactics. You are forced to develop original ideas. For short form, Writing platforms work well because you don't need to show your face initially. You learn to monetize your thinking instead of your appearance. You can test multiple ideas daily. Your engagement data guides what resonates. Start with 30 minutes of writing each morning. Create long-form newsletter content. Then extract the key ideas as short-form posts. Let your engagement act as a compass for what to expand on. Let's address the biggest objection to information products. It's not real, not tangible, just words on a screen. If the root of your existence and quality of life is your mind, and your mind is an information processing system, and the information you consume heavily influences where you end up in life and the impact you have on others, then information products are among the most valuable products you can create. The fact that they operate at 95% profit margins signals that the economy increasingly favors the education market. Technology and evolution have led us to this point. But how do you eliminate competition and saturation? Build a product for a past version of yourself or your current self, something that accelerates progress toward a meaningful goal. Your approach will revolve around a universal principle of human behavior. Purpose, a compelling reason to move toward a better future. Path, a clear process or system that brings clarity to action. Priority, the specific problem they face at their current awareness level. This principle applies to all human behavior. When someone buys a product, they are buying a path from point A to point B. Think about all the products you have purchased. This pattern holds true. If you're interested in productivity, create a workflow with education around it. If you're drawn to personal development, create frameworks and guidance around that. If you know fitness, create a program with educational support. You can't improve what doesn't exist, so don't stress about the first version being perfect. This is a long-term game of iteration and improvement. What about detailed customer avatars and extensive market research? Here's a simpler truth. You're building for people like you. You understand their challenges because you have faced them. Create content and promotions that would resonate with you. There are many moving pieces to this approach. It typically takes a year or so to feel like you're getting the hang of it. But don't make the mistake of thinking this is uniquely difficult. Every single skill you have developed in life has been a process of trial and error. Learning to walk was arguably one of the hardest things you have ever done, yet you did it through persistence and iteration. Just because you're older and have accumulated psychological barriers doesn't mean you can't build a business the same way you learn to walk, one step at a time with patience and persistence. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is taking consistent action on what you now understand. Building an education-based business isn't about having everything figured out from day one. It's about starting, iterating, and improving as you go. The beautiful thing about this model is that it compounds. Every piece of content you create, every person you help, every lesson you document, it all builds on itself. Your first 100 followers teach you how to get the next 1,000. Your first product teaches you how to create something even better. If you're serious about building something meaningful in the digital space, about creating your own customers through education, rather than competing in crowded markets, then you need the right foundation. That's exactly why the One Person Business Academy exists. It's a community with comprehensive educational resources specifically designed for people who want to start and scale their own online education business. Instead of piecing together random advice from across the internet, you'll get structured guidance on building your audience, creating valuable products, and establishing systems that work. The difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it often comes down to having the right environment and resources. If what we have covered today resonates with you and you're ready to take serious action on building your one-person business, check out the link in the description. The opportunity to build an education business has never been more accessible. The question is, will you be one of the people who takes advantage of it? Thanks for watching, and if you found value in this, subscribe for more content on building your own online business. I'll see you guys in the next one.